I had enough success in my first 15 months on Medium to quit my consulting job and become a full-time online creator. Now, I'm not promising you that you can do the same, but I can do my very best to help you get set up and hit the ground running. Normally, you'd have to pay for an expensive online course to get the information I'm giving you today, but I'm giving away all for free. So if that sounds good, let's get going. Firstly, I want you to know that you can trust the information you get from me. There's so much poor quality advice out there from people who spend a few days online on Medium and are now presenting themselves as expert. That's not what this is. So I'm going to briefly tell you why you should pay attention to me, and then I'm going to shut up about myself and focus on you. Since I started writing on Medium in January 2020, I've already gained over 58,000 followers and millions of views. The only person who started after me and who has more followers is Barack Obama, the former president. This puts me within the top 100 writers on the platform, despite having only written for 2 years, compared to many of them who have written for several years. I'm also the editor of one of the largest publications on the platform, called The Entrepreneur's Handbook. It has over 210,000 followers. I've edited thousands of pieces over the last year and a half, so I can speak with authority about how publications work and how to create good quality content. And finally, I've earned over $1,000 in 17 out of the 22 months I've been on Medium. Now, if you think this means that I know what I'm talking about, continue paying attention. So who is this course for? I always like to say that there's 3 people on Medium. There's the people who just love to write, or they're doing it as a hobby, and they don't really care about the numbers too much. They don't really care about the money or anything like that. They just enjoy writing and a place where they can publish. This course is 100% for you. And what I can help you with is just to grow your presence and become a better writer, and to use Medium as your place for your content. The second group are people who already have businesses or are trying to create an online personal brand, for example. They can use Medium in a much more strategic way in order to gain clients and to gain business. This course is for you too, but if you've got a much higher budget or you're creating a startup, you might want to contact me directly, and I can give you packages which will help you accelerate your learning and create your presence faster by working directly with me. The third group are people who just want to make money fast. And that's really not what Medium is about. There's lots of clickbait titles all over the internet about how you can make money, side hustles. You can make money on Medium, yes, but if you've got no interest in writing, if you've got no interest in making content that's going to add value to people, you're not going to do well on Medium. So I'm not going to promise you that you can make money, thousands of dollars in your first month, because you're not going to make that. It's very unlikely. But Medium is a long game. In the longer term, you can do what I did, where Medium is part of my income, but a lot of the opportunities that I've got have come from people who have contacted me because of my Medium articles. So it's created a huge pipeline of opportunities for me. If you've already got started on Medium, but you're a bit confused, this course is for you too. Don't worry. What I want to do is clear up a lot of the misconceptions, because there's so much advice out there, like I said, that's a bit misleading and can lead people to going down the wrong path and wasting their time. So I want to try and clear that up for you. Before we set up your account, it's really important that we both got on the same page about exactly what Medium is, because there's a lot of people who have got going on Medium, but they're not quite sure really what it is, and they make mistakes because of that. So Medium is like the YouTube for writers. And I say this because most of the people on the platform are passive. They just come there to read on Medium, or they come there to watch on YouTube. Now, there's a small proportion of people who want to create, and those are the writers on Medium and the video creators on YouTube. Now, much in the same way, you can make money on both platforms, and you can also find a wider audience coming from zero, which is very difficult to do on other platforms, as we'll go through in a moment. The audience is similar in some regard as well, because people come to both platforms to either learn or to be entertained. There are a few major differences, which will become obvious as we go through this course. And the one I want to highlight at the beginning is that Medium is subscription-based, whereas YouTube is ad-based. So if you read on Medium, you won't see any ads ever. You won't start reading and then get a pop-up to say, you've got to watch this ad before you can continue reading. But because it's subscription-based, that means you can only read a certain amount of articles for free, and then you get hit with a paywall. So it's much like the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal in that manner. Now, this is a very cheap membership. It's probably the best membership I've ever got in my life, because it's allowed me to now go into a creative space which I didn't think was possible. So I've got a lot to thank Medium for. The other difference, of course, is that YouTube is massive. So YouTube has like 1 billion active users or whatever like that. Now, because Medium is subscription-based, that straight away cuts off some people, right? So it's also the nature of reading, where not as many people are willing to read online with something that's quite heavy, potentially, compared to the more binge nature of YouTube. What this means in terms of audiences is that Medium's audience is skewed towards people who are high earners and also highly educated, which for many businesses is a very lucrative audience to have. So what people say in Medium is that they might tend to get higher subscription rates or higher sales rates than they would do on other platforms. So in a nutshell, Medium is the place where people can write online and people from all over the world can read your stories, and you can read the stories of other creators out there too, and it's open to everybody. I want to say that Medium is categorically the best place online to write for beginners, and to me there's no contest. And I'm not being paid to say this. If I didn't believe that, I wouldn't be writing on Medium myself. There's a few reasons for this. So people often start their own blogs, which is on WordPress, on Wix, or whatever it is. And the big issue is, how do you get anybody to read your stuff? Because where are they going to find it from? You can say SEO, yes. You can say whatever, yes. But you're competing against people who are SEO experts, people who have hired people who have huge teams behind them. It's very difficult for the average person to compete with that in SEO terms. But on Medium, you have the inbuilt captive audience, and Medium will send your articles to people on the platform if they think it's good enough. This means that early stages of gaining traction are much faster on Medium than if you were to create your own blog. Then other writing platforms are generally just much smaller. So I've experimented with a few different ones before, and they just don't have the same audience size and the potential for earning money either. So what I found with Medium is that I always get people contacting me from it, and I also have continually earned well. On the other platforms, I don't think it's possible to do the kind of numbers that I've done on Medium. Then if you look at email-based ones such as Substack, it's a very different product. So Substack, you need to bring your own audience, which for a beginner is very difficult because you don't have an audience. Medium is a place where you can grow an audience, and that's what separates it out from Substack. And even people who have some experience, Substack is very difficult because if you want to monetize by asking people for a subscription fee, it's a lot of pressure. And on Medium, you have that freedom to write about what you want, when you want, and you don't have the same rigidity that you might have with a subscription if you're offering it and charging people specifically for your product. So that's just a summary of why I think Medium is the best place to write online. If you're still here, I suppose you agree with me, and we're going to set up your account now. Okay, so let's get started on Medium. What we have here is a new account. So I've created this, which is just DP McDeepface, because why not? So I can go through this process fresh, just as you would do if you're a new member. So go to medium.com. Also, if you already have an account, it's worth still watching because you might find out some options that you didn't know were available. So as you can see, Medium is a place to write, read, and connect. So when you come to this homepage here, you can see trending articles. You can see some different articles at the side here. Okay, we're going to get started. We're going to go to this top corner here with the Get Started button. Now, I always sign up with Google just because it's easy and I have Gmail accounts, but you can do the other two options as well. I can show you signing up with Gmail. Okay, so let's just this. Okay, create account. That's it. That's as simple as it is to create an account on Medium. Now, you can connect to a Twitter. You can follow some people. Now, I might appear here in your following list. So if you see me there, give me a follow. That would be great. Now, if you want to explore a bit at the beginning, we go to the recommended for you section. So we haven't said any of our preferences yet. So this is just going to be a generic list, basically. Let's say we click on some of these topics and we can follow these. Okay, let's say we follow that. Let's say we follow life and we go back to the homepage again. And now we'll probably see more of those type of content in our list. If we follow some people and we go to the following page, now we see their articles there. And you can see at the top here how many articles you haven't read of this person. Okay, you can also browse your topics that you like right at the top there. So let's say you wanted to read things that are completely different from Medium. You could tag those as your topics and easily navigate at the top of the page. So as you can see, there's a lot of stories in Medium and a lot of writers. Go back to the home page. It's also, if you can click on this, for example, you'll just see how simple and nice the layout is. So if we scroll through, so this, no ads and nothing like that. If you go to my profile, so you just type in Amardeep, top here, search, then I come up. Click on me there. So you can see 58,000 followers I have. And it's worth mentioning here as well. So if you look at my about page, you can see follow for follow is not the tactic. Don't do it. It's a waste of time. So the idea here is if you have a follow account, but none of those people actually read your articles because they're just following you because you followed them, what's the point? It's just a number. Even my 58,000 followers, it doesn't mean that 58,000 people read all my articles. So I need to make sure that I write articles which are engaging to those people. You can see here I've connected to my Twitter. You can see the editor of different publications and top prices to different tags. Top price is another thing that many people talk about and people put in the LinkedIn. It's a waste of time. You don't need to care about it. Being a top writer just means that you use the same tag often. It doesn't mean that your stories have been read a lot or that you're anything particularly special. So be aware of that. You'll see people use that for advertising. Ignore it. It's a nice little badge to have as a beginner to give you some encouragement, but there's no underlying strong meaning behind it. Now, we also notice if we go back to the Medium homepage, you see the layout is different to what you saw before you had a membership, right? Now, if you go to my profile and my account, it's completely different. So I've got all of this bar here. I've got other settings. Now, I'm not totally sure, but I believe this is because I've set up in the Medium Partner Program and I do writing, but Medium are constantly experimenting. So what you see in this video, I can show you 2 different versions of what the homepage looks like, but you might see something different by the time you're watching this. But the underlying ideas are always the same. You might have noticed that my profile had the purple and there's lots going on. If you want to do the same thing on yours, we want to go to up here and click settings. If you're on this version, you go down to the bottom corner and click settings there. It's the same thing. So I can show you here. So name, obvious, bio. There's lots of different ideas about what to do for your bio, and people can overcomplicate it and overanalyze. If nobody's reading your stories, it doesn't matter what your bio is, to be honest. So don't let that be a barrier to you publishing your first story, but think about it in the background. So are you writing for fun? Are you writing for a business? If you're writing for a business, then obviously your bio should reflect that business, so you get the right content. So if you can see for mine, I talk about I'm the host of a podcast. I'm the host of 2 podcasts now, so I should update that. And then just a general idea of what my content is about. So my content is generally about, like mind point driven, is about how to find balance for people who are highly ambitious. And then for me, I've got my call to action here to download my anti-burnout toolkit. And as we'll come to in the making money section, while you can earn money from Medium, what you want to be thinking about it as a lead generator, which will then allow you to monetize in other ways. Okay, have a photo. Again, just like any other social media, the same rules apply. You can change your username, so do one that's easy for people to understand. So you can also claim your domain. So if I compare it to the new one I've got here, you can see the URL is like medium.com @ So generally you want to have the other way around, so you can edit it and claim a subdomain, because then it's more customized. So when people click on the link, it's got your name at the beginning, not medium.com. Okay, generally custom domain, don't worry about it. If you've got money to spare and you want to buy a domain just to host it, be my guest, but there's no need to. Most people don't do that. Very few I know who've ever got a custom domain. Now this is the fun bit, you get to design your profile. So again, this doesn't matter too much, so don't overcomplicate it, don't spend too much time on this. You can change the colours like that, so you can see this button is going to change colour. You can change the background, try not to make it like this. This is like MySpace from 2005, the internet has moved on since then. Be subtle and use complementary colour combinations. Okay, there's various other options like changing the fonts. You can change the header, so you can have a large header, you can put it in the middle, kind of standard things you would expect. You can use a logo rather than text, which is what I do on my profile. Okay, so we don't care too much, we'll just press publish. Let's just check out the rest of the settings to make sure we've got that all covered. With email lists, I'm going to come to this in a later section, so pay attention to that, because that's really important if you want to make money on Medium. There's lots of emails you can get from Medium. I've turned a lot of these off just because of the scale that I've reached where I get too many emails. But especially at the beginning, you want to make sure you have at least the Medium digest on and the recommended reading, because what that does is it gives you an idea of what's doing well on the platform and gives you inspiration and helps you become a better writer. You want to ensure that these are on at least, and also it's important to have mention notifications and private notes as well enabled. So you can connect these as well, which just helps you to find people you already know on Medium. So this is the allow private notes part. You can mute and block people. So I have 2 people blocked. You can guess who they are. This option here is very important, where just in case the worst should ever happen, then you can always download your information and back it up regularly so you don't lose your content. But once you've been through all of that, your account is now set up. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about upgrading so you become a Medium member. Now this is important because you can only read 3 articles a month without a Medium membership. 3 articles is not enough to understand how the platform works. You wouldn't watch 3 YouTube videos and then decide to become a YouTuber. That's not how it works. You need more experience. You need to understand the platform better than that. So you can do it from at the top here. You can click become a member. But what I'd be very grateful if you did was instead to click on this link, which is in the comments. And this way, if you click become a member here, this can make a huge difference to me when it's in high numbers. And that gives me a bit more stability as a full-time content creator. For you, it's absolutely no different. You either pay $5 directly to Medium and they get all of your money, or you pay $5 and some of that money comes to me. So it's up to you. If you want to support me, that would be amazing. So you just click this button, and as you can see, no ads, quality writing, access on any device. The payment process is exactly as you expect. Very safe, very secure. We're talking about a multi-billion-dollar company here. Okay, now we're going to talk about how to write your first story. So from the menu, you click Write a Story. Alternatively, you can go to here and click Write, depending on which format of medium you're seeing. You'll end up in the same place. The first time you come here, it will give you some helpful tips at the bottom, and we're going to go through those in a moment. So first things first is make sure you write a good title. Later on in this video, I'm going to be talking about how to write a good title, so pay attention until then. For the moment, we're just going to do Hello World. Okay, then we're going to do From Dolly the Sheep. Going to have a subtitle like that. So this is important because this is what people in Medium expect. They expect a title and a subtitle, and the subtitle is valuable real estate to help convince people to click on your articles. Next, you want to add an image, and for most people, just use Unsplash. So see what I did there? Click this plus button, click on that, search for something you want to post. So let's say sheep, press enter. So this is going to be my first post. Simple as that. I recommend using landscape photos because when the articles are shown on the home page and in various places, they tend to be in that format. Now we're going to write our article. So I'm just going to write some gibberish like this. Okay. Now I can show you some of the formatting. So let's say this is our introduction. Now we're going to add a divider. So you press the plus button, press these 2 dots, and let's add another section here. We've got a bit of structure. Now let's make this a subtitle. So you highlight it and click on that T. Highlight and click on that T. The difference between using the 2 headlines isn't massive. If you wanted to stand out more, use a bigger one. Otherwise you can do that. So if it's one section, you want to have different subsections, you might use the title and a smaller subtitle. Now here you can do, by highlighting text, you make it bold, make it italic, but generally avoid this because it's annoying to read. You want to make this as easy as possible to read because it's not in your face and garish. You can use different quote formats like this and replace it again. So the first quote format is if you're quoting somebody else. This one is supposed to be if you're quoting from your own article by highlighting a particularly interesting line, but most people don't use it this way. That's the actual intention of what you should do though. And then of course you can link out, so whatever, okay? So this is your basic structure. We can also add some multimedia, so you can upload a photo from your drive. You can embed things. So it says here to add a video and you can paste something from YouTube, but you don't actually need to click that button. So instead, you can just copy and paste a link from YouTube like that, press enter, and it embeds automatically. Perfect. Another useful thing, especially for coders, is if you do this, these 3, these 2, then you can write in something like this, which is good for if you're going to have code snippets. Now we're going to go through the options at the top here. So you can add to a publication. We're going to come to that later on because I know many people are interested in publications. Share a draft link. So if you want people to be able to read your article before you publish it and give you tips on it, you click that and they'll be able to access it and leave notes. Manage unlisted setting. So if you don't want people to be able to see it publicly, but you want to be able to send this to a private group, you just press yes there and only people with your link can access it. Okay, these are obvious tags. We're going to come into a bit more detail of tags later on and about the importance of them. For now, all you need to know is you click here and you pick the tags you want. You can also do this just before publishing as well, so don't worry too much about it. Revision history is useful if somebody edits your article. And more settings, I would say, don't care about at the moment. It's good if you're going to do some SEO stuff, use some options in there, but you don't need to touch it. Everything you can do is within here. If you forget some of the keyboard shortcuts, you can go here again, and that's all sorted. Now we're going to press publish. So you can schedule it for later if you want to go out on a certain day. You can add more tags, like that. Now, what I'm going to do here, which might scare some of you, is I'm just going to press publish now. Because one of the things you need to do early on is when you write your first article, is get used to pressing publish, because the world doesn't end. You'll be okay. And if you're worried about it, you can delete the article afterwards, and that's fine. So write something that's to your best of your ability, but don't over agonize about it, and don't spend weeks and months just trying to press the publish button. Break the duck, get something out of there. You can improve on it later, you can edit it afterwards. It's not the end of the world. So if you've been following along and you press publish now, you've got your first post live. Congratulations. And you have all the links here to share. Now for the bit many of you have been waiting for, how to make money on Medium. And there are 3 ways. First way is through the Medium Partner Program based on minutes read. So I'll break down how this works for you. Each Medium member pays $5 in order to be able to read as much as they want. Of this $5, a proportion of that goes to Medium. You don't see that. The rest of it is split up amongst the other writers. So from this, let's say in our example, a reader spends 100 minutes on Medium reading different articles. Let's say all of that 100 minutes is you. That means you get the complete share of the Medium subscription for that person after taking away Medium's cut. This is obviously very rare. Now let's say each person, they read 25 minutes of 4 different authors. You get a quarter. And you see how it goes based on that, right? Now obviously in reality, people read maybe 20, 30, 40, maybe even 100 different writers. So you get a small proportion of their income. But when this is millions of views, you can see how it can start to add up. So that's a primary way that you can earn money on Medium. And that's the way that I've earned well over 1,000 multiple times. And one of my articles is currently about $9,000. Now, I'm not going to pretend that that's normal, that you can just write an article and start this week and make $9,000 on one article. That is one article out of over 150, maybe 200 articles that I've written. It's possible, but it's rare. So you have to put in the hard work, and you have to build your brand, and you have to write quality in order to get that kind of money. The good thing is that if you write a story a year ago, it can suddenly go viral and earn you money. So as long as the content is up online, there's a potential they'll earn you more money. This is technically passive income, but obviously the older articles do decay and you don't earn as much as them on them generally. Number 2, this is referrals. So referrals is relatively new to Medium. This was introduced early autumn of 2021. And how this works is that you get given a link that you can send to people to sign up to Medium, just like the link I sent you earlier. And that's in the description of this video. If you sign up through that link, then half of your money after taxes, whatever it is, say it's at $2.20 out of $5, goes to whoever referred you. So if you can set up lots of people, so let's say you can refer 100 people, that's $220 per month guaranteed. Now, it's much more difficult than that. At the moment, I have, I think, 15 referrals, but I've got 58,000 followers. But I haven't been particularly focused on getting referrals at the moment. But if you were, you might be able to get a much higher number, even with less followers. And the good thing about this is that it's recurring, right? Because that's the nature of a subscription. With an article, somebody might read one article and never read you again. If they sign up to Medium because of you, then you might be able to earn income on them for months to come. Now, let's say you're signing up to Medium and you're trying to get all your friends on there as well. You can use your referral link. Though obviously, remember, you still have to pay. So don't just get people to sign up and they're going to waste their money if they're not going to actually use it. Try to be conscious of that and don't contribute to this bad idea of being spammy or like a multi-layer marketing campaign. You want only people who are actually going to gain value from having a Medium membership to join through your link. Because if you spam the internet with your link, it looks bad on me, it looks bad on the rest of Medium. So please don't do that. The third way, and this is the way that people don't think of enough, and it's the most important way to earn money on Medium, and that's through gaining an audience. Because the audience I've gained on Medium and the credibility I built up, that's where most of my income comes from, not from Medium directly. So the money I've earned on Medium, or the clout I've gained from Medium, has enabled me to get freelancing gigs. It's enabled me to go on podcasts, on YouTube, on all these other things, because people value my opinions because they can see a huge body of work from me. People buy your online courses, people buy your digital products. That's a much better way to earn income. So see the Medium Partner Program as a way to earn some money to keep you going and take you over. But if you're serious about business, you'll want to be looking at that. And if you want to learn more about that kind of side of things, then get in touch with me because there's other courses which I can recommend to you. So now I'm going to take you through the logistics of actually doing this. Okay, so from your profile, what you'll need to do is go to the Medium Partner Program. You can't earn on Medium from memberee time straight away. There's 3 different criteria. First of all, you need to publish a story. That's easy. We've already done that, hopefully, if you've been following along the video. Gaining 100 followers. If you're posting consistently and you're interacting with the community, 100 followers is not difficult at all. You can do that. I have absolute faith in you can do that. If you get good, you can do it within a few weeks. If you get amazing, you can do it in a couple of days. Most people might take a month or 2 months to do this. Some people will take longer. Stay active. So you only need to post once every 6 months to keep earning. If you can't post once every 6 months, there's no point in you watching this video. So once you've done that, you get accepted to the partner program. But even before you've got your 100 followers, you can start earning money if you're directing them to other products and other goods. So just going through the FAQs here, you don't need a Medium membership, but I strongly advise you get one because, as I said before, you wouldn't start on YouTube if you'd never watched a video on YouTube. How much people make, it varies significantly. Last time they released stats, 95% of people made under $100, but I know of people who make 5 figures regularly. So I'm in the top fraction of a percentage who earn over 4 figures every month, but there are people that I know who are beyond me who are earning 5 figures every month. Publications is something we're going to cover later on, so keep paying attention. When you actually start to apply, you'll need to use Stripe. Now, Stripe is a product which is very reliable, highly used, worth over 100 billion in the company, wherever it is. You don't need to worry about Stripe. It's completely reliable, but it's not available in every country around the world. And if it's not available for your country, I do know that there are videos available online that will explain an alternative process you can use. But I do not condone those. It's up to you if you want to seek those out. Just to prove the massive numbers are possible, here's a little insight into what you get once you sign up to a partner program. So you can see here, I had this massive month there, and then generally it's in that kind of a range. So you can see a Stripe dashboard, you can see taxpayer information. So I am not your accountant. You will need to talk to people based in your area to do this. So for me, I have to use a W8 BNE, but that's because I'm from the UK. And you have the FAQs there. That's the basic idea of how Money or Medium works. But if you stop watching here, you're going to be lost. You need to listen to the rest of the video because you want to stand out from all the other people who are trying to do the exact same thing of writing and trying to make some money as well. Okay, so now we're going to dive deeper into the nitty-gritty of Medium and how it works so that you can be successful and hit the ground running. The first bit we're going to cover is topics. How Medium works behind the scenes is that there's something called curation. So Medium employs people to be curators, and what they do is read pieces and decide whether or not it meets a certain standard, and then they distribute it. So what this means is that if people follow certain topics and your article is distributed in that topic, they can see it even if they don't follow you. And that's really crucial because this is how you grow a Medium. Because if you're writing into the void and you've got 0 followers, nobody's going to read your stuff. But if you're writing high quality content that curators decide is worthwhile for people to see who is, let's say, follow life or follow money, then you can grow. At the time of recording this, Medium's perception of topics has changed a little bit, where it's not something which you actively see on Medium. You can find it, but it's not so obvious. It's not in your face like it used to be. What this means is that behind the scenes, topics are being used, curation is still there, but they don't want people to focus on it so much. And it's true, because if you keep fixating on, I want to get curated into this topic, you're not doing the important thing, which is focusing on writing well. If you're writing well, you'll get curated. So that should be your main focus. Now, obviously, if you're writing about a certain topic that you believe is popular, then you get curated into a popular topic. But you might be surprised to know that some people are writing about history and making thousands of dollars a month. Some people are writing about tech. Some people are writing about lifestyle. Some people are writing about relationships. There's actually a lot of different things you can write about on Medium and make money. The thing is, because people see certain writers do well, they think that's everything when it's not quite the case. With topics becoming less important, tags have become more important. So before there used to be this weird thing where you had tags and topics, and many people got them confused, and that's why I think Medium are making these changes. So what you see in recommended topics are actually tags, and these are the same tags that you use when you're writing your stories. So if I click on any random story, okay, you can see it's got 3 tags here. Usually you should do 5 tags because, as I said, there's no harm in using that. But if you click on this at the bottom, you can see this. So if you're using tags which are very popular, you'll get more people who read them, but you might also get more competition for the writing side. So you can see this tag isn't very popular, only 1.4 thousand stories and 900 writers. Now if you look at politics, 418,000 stories and 130,000 writers. So that gives you an idea of what to look for in tags. What you should also do as well is if you're going to write about a particular topic, you can have a look through here and you can kind of see what's doing well and what's performing, so that you're not trying to use a style that doesn't really make sense. So you can see the trending, you can see the latest, and you can see the best. So best is based on the most amount of member read time in a certain time frame. So if we click on all time here, then you can see this story's got like 180,000 claps. I believe I've got one in productivity. Now, for an example here, if we take productivity, very popular topic, 200,000 stories. Guess who's got the most read this year? That's me. So browse for the topics, which are also tags, and you'll find the ones which you're most interested in, read them, immerse yourself in that world so you can write good stories in that area. Next is publications. Well, let's go to Entrepreneur's Handbook. This is where I'm the editor. Okay, so you see Entrepreneur's Handbook here. What you can see is there's articles by multiple people, and this one in particular is formatted in a way because we want to focus on different things. So this is our podcast. We're heavily promoting that at the moment, at the top here. Now you can see here 209,000 followers, which puts us right near the top of all of the publications. So what people can do is they want to write for us, they'd go to submit. So pretty much every publication will have a similar submissions page. You read all of this, you understand what it is that the publication is looking for, and then they'll have some way so you can submit. Okay, and they'll have instructions. So make sure you read the instructions. That's really important. There's no point applying to publications if you're not reading the instructions, because you will just be ignored. If we go to here and we do a good old asterisk wildcard and search all of Medium publications, so here you can see all of the publications that are ordered by how many followers they have. Now, many of these are inactive, so Matter is inactive, Free Code Camp is inactive, Mission.org, like the Coinbase blog is only for people who work at Coinbase, and so on. The Economist is only for The Economist. But some of these are ones that you can access and you can write for. PS I Love You is no longer accepting, and here we are. So a lot of the ones above us are actually inactive and they don't exist anymore, or they're for companies. So there's actually over 10,000 publications on Medium, which is a lot. But if you want to find ones that are related to the areas that you're interested in, what you can do is if you search for, let's say you're interested in relationships. Okay, you see here, you can see publications related to relationships. If I put on in startup, again, you see publications related to startups. So this is a good way you can find publications to apply for, and the larger the audience they have, the better. Now, some publications accept many writers and post very often. These are the ones you want to avoid because then their audience is split between many articles. The ones that publish less often, you're more likely to see a boost from using those. To add a story to a publication after you've been accepted, what you do is go to a new story like this, click here, add to publication. No publications available there. But if I go to my own account, go to stories. So in this account, if I go here, so I need to write the title first, tell the story. Okay, I can do add to publication, and here you can see all the publications that I've been added to. So I tend to only write in a few. People add me to their publications simply because of my follow account. But you can see here, Entrepreneur's Handbook is the publication I run, and Mindful and Driven is my personal publication. So if you want to apply to publications, make sure you read their guidelines, make sure you read lots of articles from them, and you'll be able to get in. There's another side to publications too, which is about, do you want to have your own publication as a way to store your own content? Now, I do this for my own brand. So because I've got a podcast, I want to keep all of the stories related to my podcast in one area. So this is my publication. So you can see it's only stories by me, and they all have a common theme. Now, the benefit of doing this is if you want to group content together, and if you also want to link outwards. So, for example, I want to link people here where they can listen to my podcast, and I also want to link people here where they can watch my podcast. So it's kind of a closed area that I can control. Generally, for most people, this isn't worth it. Unless you're building a brand, unless you've got a business behind you, you might as well submit to other publications where you can use their audience. For me, this makes sense because it's a business decision to have a brand that people can find all my content in one area. To create your own publication, what you need to do is go to Manage Publications here, New Publication, and you just fill in all these details. So it's fairly simple. I'm not going to create one now because it would just be for spam, but you can see as an editor, I get different options. So if I go to this publication, and I click here, go to Settings, here you can see what I filled out. So I've got all of the links in here from my various pages, and for me, it's only me as an editor and a writer. If you want to make a more complicated publication, generally if you're a beginner, I'd say don't, because it's a waste of your time. And you might as well use existing publications rather than create work for yourself. But it's a useful way to, if you have a business, to organize your content. Now, many people love writing on Medium because you can see the stats and it gives you lots of information. But what I'd warn you about is that don't draw conclusions from your stats generally, because you're not going to have a big sample size. And I see many people who've written for 1 week and decide, oh, wow, this one article did well, so that's what the strategy is. It doesn't make any sense because I've seen hundreds of thousands of writers on Medium, hundreds of thousands of articles. Your sample is tiny. So I have a larger sample from writing on Medium for a while, and also being the editor of a publication, which has thousands of articles over time. I can tell you for sure that posting at this time or that time doesn't really matter. There's so many other variables. Each thing has such a minor level of control. Well, the best thing you can do is write quality content with a headline that somebody wants to click on. But I can show you stats. So if you go here, click on stats. So you can see I have 4 views for my Hello World post. So I'm going to delete that actually because I don't want to spam Medium. And you can go back in time. I can see the views, I can see the reads, I can see the read ratio and how many fans it's got. If we drill down, on each individual story, you can see this amount, see the number of views, you can see over time, and then you can see the traffic sources. If I go to my own account, so this is my best month ever, which is 281,000 views. And you can see how that looks with these big spikes. Now, for an individual article, my most viewed is this one, which has nearly 500,000 views. So if I click on this, you can see here that it's earned me nearly $9,000. Got an average read time of nearly 5 minutes, which is very high. And if you look at the lifetime views, you see the different spikes. You can also see, even months later, it's still getting a few hundred views a day. See different traffic sources. So you can see this was heavily shared by people. After they read it, they shared it with their friends. That's what you can see in here. Get Pocket picked up, which is just a website which I believe is owned by Firefox, which just shows the news. And then Gmail, people in newsletters, people from Google, and then the different socials. So that's an overview of the stats. I'd strongly advise you to not over-obsess about these stats. Yes, you have them. Yes, they can be interesting. But it's very easy to get overwhelmed rather than focusing on the most important thing, which is creating content that people want to read. Okay, so if you come back to here again, you can also click on this, which is audience stats. So audience stats shows you your overall numbers. So I haven't really pushed for email subscribers because I have my own external list on Medium, and I'm not really heavily pushing for referred members. Now, hopefully some of you use my link, so this number will increase. Now you can see the monthly growth of my following here, right? So if we see when I started, these are just people who followed me because I was reading and clapping for things. I think it's when they wanted me to clap for their own articles back. Then you can see I started writing in January 2020, and here it pushed up. So you can see that growth. So in the first 6 months or so, I had about 2,500. Then you can see as I'm getting better and better, this is uplifting. So just under 1,000 here, 10,000, sorry. And then you can see this year it's just exploded. So it's getting 6,000 a month, and this month is on course for about 4,000 again. So by the end of this year, I'm expecting to have about 65,000 followers. So that's an overview of the insight and just shows you how this has worked. Remember, just because the tool is there doesn't mean you have to use it. So now let's talk about headlines, subheadlines, and cover images, and why they're so important. So look at the homepage. What do you see? You see the headline, the subheadline, and the image. So the name is there too, but if you're a new writer, nobody knows your name, so they're not going to click on it because of your name. So you have these 3 pieces of real estate to get people to click down. Now, if I go to recommended for you, this will show me what's popular and what Medium is trying to show me. So if you look at these headlines here, so this is obviously very controversial, and that's why it's at the top there. This person here has managed to get this very popular. Okay, so that's obviously a very controversial headline again, which I'm guessing is satire, which I hope is satire. Then talking about money. So listicles obviously do very well on Medium because people like reading lists. Okay, again, you can see it's very controversial, a lot of these. Okay, you can see numbers are very popular. He's a friend of mine who's very good. But you can see here, you can get a good idea of what works just by reading through this, and it should trigger some ideas. So you want to think, how's this title going to make it interesting? And the subheadline is just adding to that curiosity gap. Now, don't write clickbait because you want people to not start reading your article, realize it's a load of crap, and leave again. With images, people can use different ones, but as you can see here, most of these images are people looking at the camera, looking friendly, which shows you something. And try not to use the first few pictures on Unsplash because they're very common and lots of people have seen them before. If you can use something that's a bit more original, so if you use pictures of yourself, for example, that can do very well because people haven't seen it before. It's fresh, it looks new. I could talk about headlines forever, but this is just an intro to Medium. If you want more advanced stuff, I've got other places for that. Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at is call to actions. So you can see mine at the bottom here, which is just driven but we're stressed out. Download your free anti-burnout toolkit now. For a long time, I didn't focus on building an email list, which is a mistake because an email list is something you own and an audience which hopefully will stick with you. Best practice is to offer a freebie. Unless you're an incredible writer, lots of people won't just sign up for a newsletter because how many people have emails, newsletters that they never read? You don't want to be one of those. So it's best thing if you can offer an ebook or you can offer something for free, which people will enjoy, then they're likely to click down. If you're a business, you might use your CTA to ask people to find out more and you can offer them something. So let's say I know somebody, for example, who has a tiling company, their CTA is how to find the right tiles for you. And it takes them to a website where they've got a guide about that. What you can notice from my CTA is that it's one line, it's not in your face. That's the right way to do a CTA. You should only have one line. The longer you have in a CTA, the more slimy and more over the top it feels. Technically, on Medium, you can have a quarter of your article be calls to action. But people are paying for this membership. They don't want to be sold to. If they wanted to be sold to, they wouldn't be paying. They'd be using a site with ads. So be very conscious about that and make sure you're delivering value for the readers. And that way you can get them to sign up. So I've had thousands of people sign up from Medium for my email list. Thank you for sticking with me so far. We've now covered pretty much all of the basics on Medium. But what you might be wondering is how do you stand out? When there's hundreds of thousands of writers on Medium, what makes you special and why should people read your content? Now the key thing here is that every idea has been done before. In various ways, by different people, to different levels of quality. The only way for you to stand out is to bring your personality to it. That's the only thing that you've got unique. Unless, for example, you're a worldwide specialist in a certain area, that's the thing you need to look at. It's like, what makes you different? And when you work out that, you're going to see success on Medium. And lots of us are working it out still, right? Where you can have a few big posts that do well, But in the long-term sustainable wise, you need to have something which people follow you for, where they enjoy your voice. They like the way you say things. They could hear the same idea from somebody else, but they want your voice. And the way to do this is, one is practice, but also talking to people and working out, like, why do you come to me for advice? What do I say different to other people? And when you get true on that and you have that self-awareness, then that will start filtering down into your writing. So one of the things I always say is you should follow the rules to the T until you get to the stage where you're confident. And once you're confident and you know what you're doing, and this shouldn't be your first article necessarily, though go for it in your first article, take a risk, but is breaking some of the rules. So you don't have perfect writing that's cold and lack character. The way you break the language rules, that's what adds your twist. That's what makes it sound like you. So I don't care if you use a preposition at the beginning or end of a sentence. That's irrelevant. What matters is, can you explain things in a way that people can understand and people love your storytelling? That's how you create a brand, and that's how you stand out. And you want to have the bio, you want to have your picture, you want to have your website, all aligned around this. And you won't have the answer straight away. That's absolutely fine. And just be aware that it's going to be a work in progress. But I'm excited for you, and I hope you enjoy your journey. Thank you for sticking with me this far. I want to share 2 resources from 2 of my friends who I believe are truly the best people you should be following on Medium and on YouTube if you want to learn more. So first up is Sinem Ganel and this Facebook group, which is going to be in the comments, the Medium Writing Academy Writers Mastermind. So you can see here's 8,000 members, and Sinem has dedicated so much time to helping people and understanding Medium writers. So me, Sinem, and Zuli, who you're going to be seeing in a second, had a newsletter together where we talk about different topics, and we've got a very close bond. I consider them true friends, and we've helped so many writers in the last year. But you just join and you have to fill out some forms, and that's it. Nice and easy. Then Zuli here. So Zuli has the #1 YouTube channel about Medium, and she's a lovely person, just like Sinem. And you can see she's got lots of videos which can help you. So after you've watched this, you might want to watch Zuli's art videos as well, which will help you too. She's one of the people that I strongly recommend on YouTube. And there's lots of other people who do make YouTube videos, but don't have anywhere near the credibility that she has. So you see here, I appear on the channel every now and again. So I'm sure you'll love her content and enjoy. I really hope you enjoyed this course, and if you do sign up to Medium and use my link, thank you so much. Even if you don't use my link, I'd love if you could follow me, subscribe to my newsletter, and share. Like, if you know somebody else joining Medium who would benefit from advice in this video, please send it on to them. I do many different things, so if you want to work with me directly, then send a message, but please do understand that I have to price this at a high enough price to make it worth my time against all the other competing interests that I have. So I would love to work with you, but please be understanding on that aspect. I can't help people for free just because of the time restraints. I have the same 24 hours that everybody else has. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you on Medium.